Good morning, everyone. Well, I hope this works. It's Sunday, the 19th of February, and it's day 167 of the GGR. And plenty happened yesterday, and it's all about to start happening again with the next rounders being Captain Gugg, so that's going to be fun. Anyway, I'm hoping we've got a different setup, and I'm hoping so different cameras and bits and pieces. Anyway, this streams through and doesn't cause any interruptions. Yesterday we had to do a pre-record, which caused delays and bits and pieces and run it. But anyway, it's all up, and hope you're all having a good weekend. Great to see the photos of Kirsten coming through when she went round, and fantastic to get Avalish's SoundCloud just as he was right on top of Cape Horn. The lighthouse keeper at the Horn, they'd been trying to call him on the VHF, but were unable to get him, unfortunately. Avalish has had some issues with his main VHF in the past, so that was a bit sad, but anyway, we know he's all okay and everything's going to plan. And Simon's up here trying to get down, but he's got a southerly or southeasterly right on the nose, and Captain Good continues to ride the good weather. This could be just about a world first to get all the way across without. Anyway, touch wood. I shouldn't talk about it yet, but we'll come to that in a minute. Okay, so let's just head back here and look at Ian Herbert Jones and Jeremy. Ian was amazing. He's talked about all these jerry cans of water he had, and I just assumed, he's got a bunch of jerry cans, maybe 10 jerry cans or so. But on his Facebook page yesterday, their team put a photo up of how many jerry cans. He's got like 40 jerry cans of water. Was it 40? No, a little bit less, but there's a huge, I worked out it was 240 litres in jerry cans. So he's looking pretty good because they won't be contaminated. It was very solid planning on his part so he's still got lots left, but he posted then in his tweet or whatever it was that he had 240 litres of water and some 20 litres of juice or thereabouts. So he's got more than enough to go all the way back to Les Sables d'Olonne. He's the only one that's in that position right now. Jeremy managed to top up, but he was virtually out by the time he got to Hobart. So it was barnacles and water that was the end of his GGR. All very interesting. It's going to be quite a story. We hope all of the current entrants make it back to Les Sables d'Olonne, and if they do, the contrast is just phenomenal. With Ian and Ian's story. Talk about turtle and hare. And Jeremy. Great boat, great preparation, and bingo, barnacles and water. And then Simon. Another one. And then Gugg, just consistent, playing the game. Being there, sailing well, day after day after day, and getting a break with the weather so far, touch wood. And then Avalish, what do you say? And then Kirsten. I mean, every one of them is just a fantastic story. And then you look at all the retirees, every one of those has got quite a story. One that impresses me the most is Ayrton. He did his GGR. He was completely successful with what he wanted to achieve. He was so happy to retire when he got to Cape Town, and that was his second attempt, but he was completely satisfied. And quite a story, as to the mind game of the GGR. So we always say with the GGR, it's all about the stories, and it's a mind game. And boy, it's playing out something fierce at the moment. So we want to see them all back in Les Sables d'Olonne, and all get to tell their stories. And then all those that are retired, they'll be back there for the prize giving. So going to be a lot of fun. So for now, we've just rolled over to the 8 o'clock position, and Ian's cranked up a bit, 6.2 on course, 71 nautical mile day. He was going a little bit slower the last 4 hours and a bit before that as well, but not too bad. Jeremy currently doing 6 knots, and I think he's pulled away a little bit from Ian again, 148 nautical miles. Let's just see where they sit between each other, because Ian doesn't want to let Jeremy get too far ahead, but he's been doing okay. He's now 540 miles in front of him, so he's definitely sailing well, but so he should, because he got to top up and had a big refresh in Hobart. Jeremy did, and perfectly clean bottom. Ian's dragging a few barnacles. So the weather for these guys going forward, I'll put them down here so you can see what's going to happen. If we come forward about 12 hours, so that's nearly 24, it rolls over to a southerly. Jeremy's going to maybe sail into that hole, but even if he doesn't sail into the hole, he's got headwinds. He's got a southeasterly coming online. I think you can see that. He's got a southeasterly on the edge of this for a bit, and same with Ian. When the breeze is there, it's going to move forward to the beam, so you'll see his course start to head up to the northeast for sure. He just doesn't want to go south, so I'll take it just a little bit more. Yeah, that's about 24 hours, so it'll hang on. I'll toggle it through from there to see how long it's going to stay. So after 24 hours, it's starting to, well, for Ian, it goes southerly, so he'll be able to come back on course. For Jeremy, it's holding southeast, so it's right on the nose. So he'll be driven up as well, and that's going through into the next day. That's 2 days ahead. So he's got a day and a half of frustrations, and then 2 days from now, it's going to go more southerly, and he'll get going, and then Ian's going to get around to this. It's going to go southwest, but it'll be light. So again, they won't be making huge progress. They won't be doing their 140-mile days towards the east, but they'll still be sailing, and there's no big weather there, but it's going to be uncomfortable for Jeremy a bit in the next couple of days. So, and Jeremy's reporting all well on board, so systems are fine, and they're all pretty happy. So Gugg, how good is this? Gugg, how good is this? He's doing really well. He's dipping down now. He held up a bit. I'm not sure what this issue here was. I think it was when it was sort of blown a bit hard, but he decided to head out off the run line, and now he's coming down in very good conditions. So 5.6 knots, did 136 nautical miles in the day. He's in touch with Peter, getting weather, and he should be, now I forget the status of his weather facts, but certainly Kirsten was getting maps out of Chile as well, which is very helpful in this area, of course, because you get to know what's happening. Anyway, well, you can see what's happening with Simon up there. He's zigzagging. I'll show you his position, because when we talk about the weather, we can look at all the boats at the same time. I'll do it slowly. So you can see he's been tacking a bit. He's now holding it on port tack, going out, and you'll see that'll slowly swing, but it's going to take a while still. So slow progress. That's probably 20 knots, gusting 28, 26, 27. And let's have a look at his sea, because it's still uncomfortable. The waves are probably 3 or 4. Yeah, that's a good 3-4 meters. It's just coming out of the 3s, going into 4 meters. So wet and windy when it's on the nose, because your apparent picks up. If you've got 28 knots true wind and you're going to windward, your wind across the deck is like 33, 32. So he'd be strapped down and just going for it. He's just got to hold his own position. He's got to get out to the west and get south as much as he can. So very frustrating for Simon, and you pay the price. That's bad luck, but you can't do anything about the weather. Okay, and then if we look at, we might treat Abolish a bit differently. We'll do Abolish and Kirsten in a sec. So okay, so focusing on these guys, I'm going to toggle the weather forward slowly each hour. So coming through, Gugg's looking okay, and it's going to pick up from the northwest, which will then speed him up. And Simon, if you look up at Simon, it's going lighter. That'll be a bit better for him, but it's still very much from the southwest. He may tack over. He's fair enough offshore if he gets the weather, and he knows that this sort of that's a west-northwesterly is coming. He may tack over onto starboard tack, even with that sort of southwesterly, and start heading south. And even if he's closing the coast, because he knows he'll be able to pull off once this lot of wind comes in. If you're watching Gugg there, the weather's increasing, but it's not storm level, it's not full gale. Gugg is getting, at that point, he's probably getting 30, gusting to 40, but it's all in the right direction. And the sea state and the swell should be all lined up, because it's consistent airflow. There's no sudden wind direction change, so there shouldn't be a huge cross swell. So this is well within his capacity. It's very much like what he's handled in the past. He'll be in the full blow of Southern Ocean sailing, and as I say, 30 gusting 40, but that's what you get when you're going around Cape Horn, and that's as good as it gets when you're around in Cape Horn as well. So he'll be happy. And so Simon, you can see, is right on the cusp of it there, but it's gone westerly. So at that point, and this is now about 14 hours from now, he would absolutely tuck over and start heading in a south or even a southeasterly direction, because it's going to swing, and it's better than just pumping out to the west. So the weather's about to change for Simon as well. So we keep rolling that through. Simon's now got the big wind shift, so he's down south, and Gugg's running dead towards, at that point, he'll be running downwind. He'll be coming down here, or beelining it straight for Cape Horn. So that's day one. coming through day 2. It's going to pick up, but it's all from the same direction, so things are building. The sea state shouldn't get tricky, but it's starting to, fluff over. There's going to be squalls in there. You can see in the inconsistent pattern of the colour. And then by the time it goes through that little front, you can see it here. It does change. It goes from norwesterly, and you then come into this westerly airflow. So that could be a tricky moment. At that stage, the wind forecasting here is still showing 30 knots, gusting 40. Quite challenging, but not extreme. And I'd be hoping that Gugg is okay. And then this one, this is now coming into getting close to 2 days out. At that stage, he will be down south of it. He'll be down here somewhere. So he'll be on a weather alert. With this one, it's got a bit of blue. I'll check it on windy. But now you're talking winds that are sort of forecasting, close to 35. And if you look at where the cursor is there, he's going to be right on the cusp of it, so you might get a little bit there. So our suggestion will be, it goes away very quickly. Our suggestion will be, and it'll be up to him, this is the forecast you're going to get. If you want to slow up, because if you can see here, he'll be racing south, and he's going to be right on the intersect for that, I reckon. Let's see. So that'd be day 2. So he's got 300 miles. He might actually be past it. Oh yeah, no, he's going to be south of it. He's going to be, by that stage, he's going to be possibly down here. There's 280, so that will be 2 days on 80 degrees west longitude. He's possibly going to be there. And this is 19, 20, 21, no, that's only a day and a half. So yeah, he's going to be around about here, where the cursor is. And so when that rolls up, I'm going to hit that again to get it cranked up. Okay, so bearing in mind he'll be about where the cursor is. We'll see, he's going to run right along the top edge, so it may be something for him to consider. But anyway, we'll look at that and I'll tell you what goes on tomorrow. But it moves across really quickly. You can see that it's all gone within about 5 hours. So again, it's not too bad. Okay, so that's probably enough weather for we'll just keep toggling it through just to see how it's looking, see if there's any big frights by there, because he's still got, we'll do the distances of everyone in a minute. Okay, that's another one coming down. That's going to be a dandy, so he's going to interact with that as well. So there's another little short one. And that's on the 24th, so that'll interact as well. So he's going to have some work in the week ahead for sure, but that's just what you get. And then going right through 27, 28, he'll be around by then. So not too bad, but it is Southern Ocean, it is Cape Horn, so let's just see how that evolves. I'll come back to in fact I'll do the distances now for everyone to see what's going on. Okay, first of all, we'll start with the distance to Cape Horn for Gugg. He's the next one round. So there we go there. And here, put that down there. So he's about 680 miles. So that's for 5 days. So in about day 5, day 6, he's going to round Cape Horn, I reckon, from now. So it'll be maybe the beginning of next weekend, Friday, Saturday or something. We might see him get close there, but it'll be an interesting week for sure. Distance now for Abelish and Kirsten. So there's Abelish. Kirsten is currently near enough to 437 miles in front of Abelish. Okay, so remember that figure. We'll call it 440. So Kirsten's got a 440 mile break. Interestingly, a long time ago, or some time ago, my figure for Kirsten was that Kirsten needed to be about 450 miles, at least in front of Abelish by Cape Horn. Abelish's boat, a Russell 36, is clearly a lot faster in light winds, and Kirsten needed that break to give her a chance to stay ahead and be tactically into a different system by the time she works her way up. This is the danger zone. I mean, I'm digressing here from Gugg, but in fact, I'll come back to that in a minute because we're still a little bit focused on Gugg, but that's a figure to remember, 450 nautical miles. Gugg, however, from Abelish, if we stretch this around a little bit, so he's about 750, and if we distort that, he's less than 800 miles from Abelish. An 800-mile blunder in the Atlantic, say if there's someone does a tactical blunder in the Atlantic here, because this is the issue. This is how the storybook could change. In fact, I'll give you a walk through it Sunday. Tactically now, this zone here is the first tactical zone where things can change dramatically. People have got options and choices. They can go out wide here. They can come in up the coast there. The weather in here is very, not unpredictable, but it's not trade winds. It changes all the time. This is 40 degrees south. That's the roaring 40 line there. And depending on the weather you get, can completely stop you for 5-6 days or more. Right? If you end up over here in the wrong system and you've got headwinds, you can be going all over the place and go nowhere for 4 or 5 days. And if someone else has chosen a different route and they get a break, the opposite, when they get a big shift, they can just sail away. So 800 miles between Gugg and Abelish is still in touch. Right? If Abelish makes a blunder here, Gugg could easily sail past him. Right? But, of course, Abelish might pick a good one and go roaring ahead, and Gugg could come down here and pick a bad one, so then he goes behind. Same with Kirsten. So Kirsten now has 450 miles break, or 440-mile break. She's got to hope that luck holds and gets a lift to here, and she can get it sorted. And remember our good friend, the South Atlantic High there. This is what is going to, once you get into the impact of the South Atlantic High, you've got these trade winds coming up here, and whilst they were on the nose for when the fleet was coming down, the angle of it was all mixed up. There wasn't a consistent South Atlantic High. They were tending to be coming from the southeast. That's what you want. See here now, it's coming. These trade winds are coming from the northeast. That's what you don't want. That's when you get trapped and you get squeezed in here and it's really slow. So this can vary depending on where the centre of the high is. You can see it. If the high centre moves across, which they do, they go to the east, that means you're going to get winds coming down from, with a northerly component. If the high sits here in this direction, you're going to have winds that are very favourable and push you up through. So that's the tactical issues here. And if you look down then to the North Atlantic, it gets really tricky. There's a lot of windward work and going, pushing into the trades, deciding whether you go out here to the Azores or whatever to tactically work you around. So that's the second tactical zone here where things can change, and your choices that you make are going to affect your final outcome. So it's really something to watch. And what I'm saying is 800 miles for Gugg, he's in touch. This whole scenario here between these three can change dramatically. They're all having a proper race now, and I'm quite certain that Kirsten also knows that Abelish's boat, a Russell 36, is faster in light winds than hers. She's dragging more wetted surface area underwater. She's a heavier boat, whereas Abelish is a lot lighter, potentially faster in that light weather stuff, and he's a very good sailor. If his wind vane holds up, he hasn't given an opinion on that yet, but it seems to be going really well, which is fantastic. So we're assuming that these three are in the game, so it's very exciting. And Simon, he's dropping behind a bit because now he's lost another 3-4 days. He was hoping to be in touch and have some fun chasing the others. He will be on the move very quickly, so I could say if we bend this, like he'd love to have a battle with Abelish now. So there's 300 miles, and then there's another 600. So he's about 900 miles behind. Let's say 1,000 miles. By the time he straightens up, he's going to be a good 1,000 miles behind Abelish. Still enough room to have some fun, and he'll be on the hunt. And he sails extremely well in the Atlantic. He's a very hot sailor. So we're going to see some fun with these four. As for the tail enders back here, Ian and Jeremy, well, they're doing their own thing, telling their own story, and it's all kind of fun. So, but their distance from Cape Horn now, if we just hit that, I think I'm still on this. No. Okay, so we hit that just to tell you how far they got to go. This is a long one. It's saying low battery. Sheepers. Okay. Sheepers, get out of here. We might be chopped in a minute. Okay, so Jeremy is. I'm on low battery on this phone, Jin. Jeremy is now 248. 2,500 miles. That's so you could say that's the Great Circle route. So it's probably about 2,700 to 800. Just under 3,000 miles. And Ian's going to be he's over here a bit. Yeah, he's still just over early 3,200 or something like that. So still a long way to go, but all looking good and looking safe. Anyway, I'm going to turn this off and see if it fixes, and hopefully it's all been up live. And enjoy your weekend, everybody.